Okay, so I'm hitting record. We are good to go. I'm going to share my screen out and we are starting with math. Today is the last day of quadrilaterals, so it should be a fairly short lesson. It's just kind of reviewing some of the things you know, and then we're going to practice a couple questions together. So I'm going to pull up the math PowerPoint, and then I'm going to pull up the day 9
I'm
work.
good now.
You're good now, Nicholas?
Yeah.
Okay, so I have our math.
Are we starting with?
We're starting with math, then we will jump to science. We will end with Home of the Brave, and hopefully this is a fairly short lesson right now. And as people come in, I will continue to let them in, and they can pick up with us wherever they're at. So, looking at our day 9 work, you'll notice there's one practice question that would be similar to like guided practice we're going to do together that's embedded in the PowerPoint. And then there is 2 essentially like exit ticket type questions that we'll still go over together so that you can make sure you have the correct answer. So in math today, there's only 3 math questions that you have to actually answer with me. So if you want to come back to these later on, this first lesson is going to review a Learn Zillion lesson with you. It'll have some videos, some practice questions in case you're still just not getting quadrilaterals. There's this extra resource for you. You can just click it and it'll open up in a new tab, the Learn Zillion lesson. Okay, so we're going to start off with a little bit of review. So if you're looking at my screen, it says which shape doesn't belong. And I have a picture of a kite with a face on it, I have a picture of a dollar bill, a picture frame, a shopping bag, a stop sign, a like crosswalk sign, what looks like the side of a bowl, and then an iPhone. Which one of these pictures would not belong if we were trying to say that they were all quadrilaterals?
The stop sign,
Okay, why would the stop sign not be a quadrilateral?
because it doesn't have 4 sides.
It doesn't have 4 sides. Stop sign has how many sides? 6. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Just kidding. There's 8, so this is an octagon. Early morning. Okay, so this does not fit in because a quadrilateral has to have how many shapes?
4.
4. So a kite has 4 sides, a dollar bill has 4 sides, a picture frame has 4 sides. The stop sign does not, so it's kind of irrelevant here. So we've been talking about 7 different types of shapes this week. So I want us to kind of look at them, and then my next slide is going to break down the notes for each of these shapes, just as a reminder to what we've already learned. So all 7 of these colored shapes are quadrilaterals. Okay. What is this green shape? About said it. Square. Okay. What is this blue shape?
A rectangle.
A rectangle. What is this purple shape?
Trapezoid.
A trapezoid. What is this teal shape?
A parallelogram.
Parallelogram. What is this red shape?
Rhombus.
A rhombus or a kite. Good. What is this golden shape?
Trapezoid.
Trapezoid. Now this trapezoid looks different than this trapezoid, so just make note. And then this pinkish one at the bottom is a
Rhombus.
Rhombus. Okay, beautiful. So just so that we can make sure we understand what these types of shapes have, this is their properties or their attributes that we've talked about that make them a certain shape. So a kite, okay, a kite on this one is this pink shape down at the bottom. It's labeled kite. It is still a quadrilateral because it has 4 sides, and it has 2 pair of adjacent sides of equal length. Adjacent means basically opposite. Let me let it out. Okay, so this kite, the bottom 2 are an equal length, and the top 2 are an equal length, which makes it a kite, and it essentially looks like a kite we would fly. Okay, next one is a parallelogram, which is this yellow shape. It's still a quadrilateral with 4 sides. Opposite sides are parallel, and opposite angles are the same. So the top and bottom are the same, the sides are the same, and then the opposite angle. This little angle is the same as this little angle. They would be the same. Next is a trapezoid. Okay, there's 2. This purple one can be called an isosceles trapezoid, but we know it as a trapezoid. And then there's the red one. Both of these are trapezoids because they only have 1 set of parallel lines, and that's still the top and bottom. So no matter what these sides look like, the top and bottom are the only lines that are parallel, which makes these two a trapezoid. Okay. A rhombus is still four-sided figure. Okay. All the sides are equal lengths, but the angles are not all the same. So this rhombus looks kind of like a diamond. All the sides are equal, but the angles are different. There's two acutes on the side, and there's two obtuse top and bottom. Then we have a rectangle. Okay, our rectangle is this green shape, quadrilateral with four sides. Opposite sides are parallel. So the sides are parallel and the top and bottom are parallel, and they all have right angles. And then lastly is a square, which is this blue one. All have equal sides, two sets of parallel lines, and they all have right angles. So it kind of mushes together a bunch of attributes together. Okay? So now we're using these attributes that we've learned that you should have written down somewhere to kind of compare how they are similar or different. Now I know quite a few of us were struggling with what was what the other day when we were trying to compare them. So these blue notes that are highlighted, these are your notes for today that you need to copy down. I'm going to give you a couple minutes to make sure you're either copying and pasting these, writing them in your notebook, writing them on a sheet of paper, something. These are your notes, okay? So based on all that information, you know the following. All squares are classified as rectangles, rhombi, which is plural for rhombus, parallelograms, and kite. So a square is a rectangle, a rhombus, a parallelogram, and a kite. Okay. All rhombi, which again, plural for rhombus, a rhombus is a parallelogram and a kite. Okay. All rectangles are also parallelograms. All isosceles trapezoids are still considered trapezoids. So that means no matter what the sides look like, if the sides are kind of at a triangle angle or if one is straight, they are both considered a trapezoid. And then kites, parallelograms, and trapezoids are quadrilaterals that are not classified as any other type of quadrilateral. So that means a kite, a parallelogram, and a trapezoid, they kind of stand alone at the top of your anchor charts, and they cannot be classified as anything else. So if it's blue, you need to write it in your notes. I'll give you a couple more minutes, and then I'm going to put you to the test.
Ms. Pope,
Yes.
have you graded the day 8 work thingies?
I've graded some of them, but not all of them. I'll do the rest of it this afternoon. Once I grade it, I hit return, and it should shoot it back to your Google Classroom so that you can see it.
Okay.
I'll give you about one more minute. Okay, does anybody need an extra minute? If so, speak now, forever hold your peace.
Yes.
Okay. Anybody else still need this? Going once. Going twice. Okay. So now we just want to make sure that you can give me the information and it's not just me splurting out what these things are. Okay. So let's see if we can fill in this chart similar together to see if you know what these shapes are. So the first one, it says a quadrilateral. What would be the definition of a quadrilateral?
Four-sided shape.
Four-sided shape. Okay. What would the definition of a kite be?
Rhombus.
Okay, you could consider it a rhombus, but what are some attributes? What are some things we know about a kite? So look at these shapes. There's two thicker lines on the bottom and two skinny lines on the top. What does that mean about a kite?
It has two parallel lines.
Okay, it has two sets of parallel lines. There's something else.
Lines.
The adjacent sides are equal. So the two ones on the bottom have the thick line. That means they are equal in length. Okay. The two across the top, they have a smaller line. It means they are equal in length. And those are called adjacent lines because they touch at a point. What do we know about a trapezoid?
We only have one set of parallel lines.
One set of parallel lines. Okay. What do we know about a parallelogram?
Two sets of parallel lines.
Two sets of parallel lines. Okay. What do we know about a rhombus?
Equal sides.
Equal sides. Good. What do we know about the angles?
They're all different.
Two are
Different.
acute.
There's two acute and then there's two obtuse.
Obtuse.
Good. What do we know about a rectangle?
It's a parallel.
It's a parallel line.
It's a parallelogram. Okay, great. What else do we know about it?
Three lines are the same.
The top and bottom are parallel, and the sides are parallel.
Okay, the top and bottom are parallel. The sides and sides are parallel. So there's two sets of parallel lines. What do we know about the angles?
They're all right angles.
They're all right angles. And a square. What do we know about a square?
Four equal sides.
Four equal sides. What do we know about the angle?
All right.
All right angles. Okay. And if you lost some of that or you didn't quite get it, the answers are on the next slide in case you're looking back at this later to review. Okay. So now we're going to jump to our essentially like the guided practice problem. So I'm going to switch to my day 9 work page because it's our guided practice problem and then it's two like exit tickets. So I'm switching to our day 9 work that has all of it here in one spot so I can highlight the answers as we go along. So the practice question. Karen was classifying a square. According to its attribute, under which category does a square not fit in? Essentially, this question says she's trying to classify a square. Which one of those shapes is not considered a square? So you have parallelogram, rhombus, rectangle, and trapezoid. Which one is not considered a square?
Trapezoid.
Trapezoid. Good. So if you think back to your notes from yesterday, trapezoid was all over the side by himself, and then parallelogram, rectangle, rhombus, and square all lined up and were connected. So trapezoid is not a square. Okay, now the two essentially like exit tickets to see if you can answer them. Which statement best explains why a square is a rectangle? So I'm telling you, a square can be a rectangle. I want you to tell me why. A, it is a quadrilateral with 4 right angles. B, it is similar to a rectangle. C, it is a parallelogram. Or D, it is a rhombus. So why would a square be considered a rectangle?
Because of the parallelogram.
Okay, because they are both parallelogram. Can a rectangle be a rhombus?
No.
Yes.
But a square can be a rhombus. Because to be a rhombus, you told me we had to have 4 sides of equal length. Well, that's not a rectangle, so D is not it. It is similar to a rectangle. A square is similar to a rectangle, but that is not the best answer there. In A, it is a quadrilateral, true, with 4 right angles. Also true. So what's going to be a better answer? C, that those are both a parallelogram, or that it's a quadrilateral with 4 right angles?
Parallelogram.
Think about the angle sides. What does a parallelogram's angles look like? Does a parallelogram have a right angle like a square?
No.
Nope.
No.
Does a parallelogram have a right angle like a rectangle?
No.
No. So does a parallelogram have something in common with why a square with right angles can also be a rectangle with right angles?
No.
No. So yes, a parallelogram is a square and a rectangle. That is true. But I want to know why a square can also be called a rectangle, and it's because they both have right angles. The answer would be A. And I know some of this content's super hard when we're not in class to physically make and put our hands on these shapes, so we're trying. And the last question. All parallelograms have 4 sides. Which of these mathematical names can also be used to name all parallelograms? So all parallelograms have 4 sides. What is the definition of a shape with 4 sides? Is it a pentagon, quadrilateral, a rectangle, or a square?
Quadrilateral.
Quadrilateral means that it is a shape with 4 sides. Okay. So there are your 3 questions for math today. Your practice question was D. The question 1 is A. Question 2 is B. Any questions on the math portion?
No.
Okay. Jump into science.
Okay.
Miss Pope, math was short.
It was. Today was the very last day of quadrilaterals.
Oh.
Tomorrow will be a little bit longer because we'll start reviewing expressions. So we'll jump to a review topic. Okay, so today we are working with human body parts. Okay, we have already talked about the skeletal system. What is its job?
To give structure and shape to the body.
To give structure and shape to the body. And what's the other super important one? It does what for our organs?
Protects it.
Structure.
Protects our organs like our lungs and our heart. Good. The muscular system, what's its job? Muscular, think muscles.
To help us move.
To help us move. Okay. Circulatory system can also be called the cardiovascular system. We learned about it yesterday. What is its job?
To help pump blood.
To help pump blood and circulate it through our body. Circulatory, circulate. Okay. Respiratory system, what is its job?
Help us breathe.
To help us breathe. So today we're doing the last 2 human body systems. We're going to talk about digestive system and the nervous system. So when we're done taking these notes, if you want to come back, there are a couple engage activities where you can watch YouTube videos or explore with the human bodies a little bit more. So we're jumping to the digestive system first, okay? If it's in purple, you can write it down, but if you look over to the side of my PowerPoint slide, when I get to this one and everything's pink, that's really the notes that you need for the day. So the rest of it's just kind of listening and absorbing the information. So what is the digestive system? The digestive system helps break down the food. So the purpose of the digestive system is breaking down our food we eat to give our body energy. So the food we eat gives us energy to move and think throughout the day. Okay. Digestion is a part of changing our food in our body into materials that can enter your bloodstream. So your blood will carry the digested food to your body's cells. So then it works with the circulatory system to move that energy through your blood to help your cells give them energy to survive. Okay. So how does food get broken down from the time we put it in our mouth to when it goes to our bloodstream? It's kind of the question. So the first thing it does is digestion begins in the mouth. You chew your food and then you swallow your food. Then your food travels through your esophagus, which is part of your throat, which connects to the bottom of your throat and your stomach. Your stomach mixes the food with liquid and then sends it to your small intestine. So if you've ever kind of gotten heartburn or you've ever had to get sick and throw up, That's kind of what you're seeing is this step 3. It's mixing with your stomach acid, and the food's kind of all churned up before it goes to your small intestine. After that, it goes into your small intestine. It's just like spongy walls start to soak up the nutrients, and then these nutrients start to flow through your bloodstream to the rest of your body. Your body does not need every single thing that you eat, so then the rest of it that's not soaked up like a sponge goes to your large intestines and turns into waste. Okay, so we eat food, it sends it to our stomach kind of turns it into a slushy, then our small intestine soaks up the good stuff, and then we push the rest of it out as waste. Okay, so now here's the slide we could take notes off of. So we're talking about the digestive system. We're talking about food and how we eat it, what it does for our body. What is the job of the digestive system? It breaks down food into nutrients and energy for our body. And it includes the mouth, the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, and the large intestine. So I'll give you a second to write down some of your notes.
Miss, do we write down what it includes?
You can.
Right now because we're going to show you some stuff that you're going to see next week that's going to have some work on it for you.
Liddell, is your sister on Zoom too? It sounds like Miss Odgers.
No, she's not on Zoom.
Yeah, who is that? Who is with the sibling and someone's watching Miss Odgers? I'm just curious.
Me.
Who's me? Okay, does anybody need an extra second to get these notes down? Feet now, forever hold your peace. Okay, this next slide, so if you want to come back to this later, is additional resources that will help you understand the digestive system. It gives you a video and a slideshow that you can watch, which is similar to a PowerPoint. To use these, you'll need this login and password off to the side. Okay, so if this is something you choose to come back and look at later, the information you need is off to the side. So we are now jumping to the nervous system, which is our last one for the day. Same thing, your notes will be this page at the very end when I get to it. So until then, you're just kind of soaking in the information so that you have kind of an idea of what's going on. So what is the nervous system? The nervous system is the master control system, so your brain, that allows humans and animals to move, think, and breathe. Okay, this system is made up of your brain, your spinal cord, okay, that goes through your spine, and then your other organs that connect to those things. So your brain and your spinal cord. The brain is the control system for your entire body. Your brain contains billions of neurons. Neurons are nerve cells that control your body's activity. Okay, the brain tells your body to move, to breathe, to think, to pump blood, and everything else your body does happens from little codes that are sent through the neurons or the nerves. So this is called the nervous system because we're talking about nerves. The nerves are what control your brain and the rest of your body. Okay. So it's going to send messages through your spinal cord. So if you've ever known someone who's been paralyzed or they've broken their back, your spinal cord runs through that backbone. So if they've been paralyzed, something's happened to their spinal cord and the messages aren't getting through anymore. So for everything to work, your brain sends messages even all the way down to your toes to wiggle your toes. It all works as one big unit. So what we need to know about a nervous system is it's our brain that sends messages through the spinal cord to our nerves. And the job of this is it sends electronical messages to the body and it tells our body what to do. So if our brain doesn't work, our body doesn't work. Anybody need an extra minute on this slide? Going once. Going twice. Okay. Just like with the digestive system, if you want to come back here for the additional resources, you have videos, slides, all of those things that'll help you understand the nervous system more, and the login and passwords off to the side. Okay. So these are the big takeaways from today that we need to kind of make sure we understand. The nervous system, which is what we just talked about with the brain and the spinal cord, they are the control center. That word is uppercase because that's the word you might see on a quiz. So even if beside nervous system, if you want to write control center, that's another phrase for the nervous system because it controls our body. It helps us move, think, and breathe, and is our brain and our spinal cord. So these are the main takeaways from the nervous system. The digestive system, which was our stomach and our food, it helps break down our food. Okay? It gives our body energy by working with the circulatory system, and it's your mouth, your throat, your stomach, and your intestines. So any questions on the digestive system or the nervous system? Okay, I'm going to move to my day 9 work page to answer these 2 exit tickets. So if I jump past math, it then says science, and it's the same 2 exit tickets. So we can work through them together and you can have the correct answer. The first one says the nervous system and then ... When it's dots like that, you're trying to connect something that's true to the nervous system. So when I'm looking through these, I want to figure out, is it true or false? A, takes in all the information coming from the senses and arranges it for us. B, supports the body and is the glue that holds it all together. C, allows us to breathe. D, takes in food and breaks it down so it can be used by the body. So what do we think the answer is? A, B, C, or D?
A.
A. Okay. A is the nervous system. And just for kicks and giggles, let's see if we can figure out the systems for the other one. So what body system supports the body like glue?
Skeletal system.
The skeletal system. I can't spell today. That's so wrong. Okay, which one allows us to breathe?
Respiratory system.
Oh,
Respiratory system.
respiratory.
Which one takes in food?
Digestive system.
The digestive system. Okay, so this shows why those are wrong in case you need to come back to this page later. And A, it's taking in information, arranging it around like a puzzle for us, and then telling our body what to do. Second question, what is the function of the digestive system? A, transport substance throughout the body. B, provides support and structure for the body. C, breaks down oxygen and carries it to the lungs. Or D, breaks down food into pieces that can be used by cells. So digestive system, is it A, B, C, or D?
D.
D. Digestive system deals with our food. The key word food is in D. Okay. Same thing here. I want to label why the other ones are wrong. Which system transports substance throughout the body? A hint here is it uses your blood.
Circulatory.
Circulatory. Okay, which one is support and structure for the body?
Skeletal system.
Skeletal system, if I can spell. And which one brings oxygen?
Respiratory system.
Respiratory system. So again, we know which ones are wrong, and then the highlighted answers are yellow. So number 1 is A, number 2 is D. Okay. Any questions on science? Also super short today. Going once, going twice. Okay. We are moving to Home of the Brave. So today we're going to be focusing more so on the character's voice and how their emotions can be portrayed through this poetry, and going back to figurative language. What is it and what does it mean for us while we're reading? Okay, so before we just jump in and start reading, I want us to think about voice. So what is dialect? This vocabulary word dialect, what does it mean?
Favorite language?
Okay, language. What else could it mean? Like we're all having a dialect right now.
Conversation.
A conversation and how our voice sounds. My voice has the same sound, but you can definitely know when I'm mad to when I'm excited about something. That's my voice tone, which has a lot to do with my dialect and how I'm going to interfere with something. So our voice, a reader can tell a lot about a character by the way he or she is speaking in a story. Okay. Good readers can examine the character's voice while you're reading to better understand what they are feeling or maybe where they're coming from. So whether they're talking shyly or they're hiding their face or if they're yelling at one another, that when we're reading, it's not like a robot that we're trying to express that through our reading. Okay? So authors can use a character's voice to reveal traits and emotions. So we can kind of figure out when Keck is sad and missing his mom and dad to when he's excited about getting a job with a cow. You can kind of tell the difference through the emotion that you put into your reading. What we're focusing on today is good readers should be paying close attention to characters' words, their thoughts, okay, their conversations or dialect, and their tone and their voice. And you do this every single day with your friends, your mom and dad, with your brothers and sisters. You can pick up on if they're angry or if they're upset or if they're happy or if they're irritated. You can pick up on the dialect they're putting down. You've got to pay attention to it in your book as well. Okay. So yesterday we read 2 or 3 chapters and answered a few questions. These next couple slides are in my day 9 work. So I'm going to flip to that page. So these questions are there and so is this. So I'm jumping back to my day 9 work. It says after reading the chapter Field, which is 146 through 149, we're going to answer the following questions together. I want to know, why are the animals safe here and where is here? Why is Keck fascinated by all of the people he's seen? And why does the author emphasize that there were no cows on page 147? Okay? So if you have your Home of the Brave book, I'm going to give you a second to pull it out. We are going to start on page 146. And it is called Field Trip.
Miss Pope, can we read this part by yourself or no?
If you want to read it by yourself, that's completely fine. And if you're wanting to do it with me, I'm going to stay on. I'm going to read it. And I'm going to talk through these questions together. So whatever preference you have. Anybody need an extra second trying to find their book and getting to page 146? Twice. Okay. So this one is called Field Trip. So we ended with Keck had a great idea. He took his cousin to meet the cow. And instead of making him get a job at fast food restaurants, he convinced Lou, the farmer lady, to please stop drawing on my page. He convinced Lou, his farmer lady, to give his cousin Gunwar a job on the farm as well. So Gunwar and Keck are both working on that very small farm with the 1 cow and a few chickens. So that's kind of where we left off at. Field trip. The next week, my ESL class takes a field trip to the zoo. Field trip is another English trick, like raining cats and dogs or a barrel of laughs, because there's no field and it's not a far trip like the one I took from Africa. We take a yellow bus. When we get to the zoo, we must stand in line to get our tickets. The other kids complain, but I'm used to lines. One day in the refugee camp, I stood in line for 9 hours to get a handful of corn. At last, a guiding lady walks past us. Birds and lizards, fish and butterflies, zebras and elephants. We are looking for animals from our homelands. I see a gazelle standing on a low hill beyond a fence. I remember such animals bounding through tall grass, riding the air like the wingless birds. I wonder, how did they come to be here in this strange, cold world? They flicker their tails and check the horizon for danger. They're safe here, but they don't know it. We visit the petting zoo with its animals for touching, who will not eat your hand, but there are goats and chickens and pigs, a llama, and a turkey, but no cows. We are supposed to be watching the animals, but I can't stop looking at the people, looking at all the animals. A class of little children laugh at the pigs rolling happily in cold mud. Their class looks like our class, or maybe we look like them. Many colors and shapes and words. Of all the things I didn't know about America, this is the most amazing. I didn't know there would be so many tribes from all over the world. How could I have imagined that the way they walk through the world side by side without fear, all free to gaze at the same sky with the same hopes? What would my father have said to see such a thing? My brother? What will my mother say? I walk behind my classmates to the next exhibit, but I'm not alone. My family is with me. And every sight is something they cannot see, and every hope is something they cannot feel. To carry them unseen as wind is a heavy burden. So he's on a field trip, and where did they go on this field trip?
The zoo.
Okay, so they're going to the zoo. Why does he say the animals are safe here?
Because predators aren't in their, like, where they are.
Yeah, predators aren't where they are because at the zoo, what do we know about all of these different animals?
They can't get out.
They can't get out and they're separated. So all the zebras are with zebras. All the rhinos are with rhinos. All the llamas are with llamas. So they're with their same type of family, and then they're in a secure structure. So the animals are separated and they can't get out. So they don't have to worry about prey versus predator or food chains. They're just safe in one little home. So I'm writing the animals are separated by, I want to say race, but that's not right. By animal race. I don't know the word that would go there. Species. There it is. Thank you. Lord. I know. Animals are separated by species and are safe in their own like cages / homes. Because they see it as their home. They don't know any different. But we know it as them being put in a cage or kept separate from everyone else. Okay. The next question is, why is Keck fascinated by all the people? So he's at a zoo to look at all of these animals, but he's staring at all the people. So why is he fascinated by all the people? If you need a hint, you can go to page 148. I can reread this page. It says, of all the things I didn't know about America, this is the most amazing thing I didn't know. There would be so many tribes from all over the world. How could I have imagined the way that they walk through the world side by side without fear, all free to gaze at the same sky with the same hopes? So when he says there would be so many tribes, what is he really talking about? Because when I think tribes, I think like Indian tribes or tribes that's from where he's at. But we don't consider ourselves tribes. What do we consider ourselves to be in like groups of? So he says he didn't know that there would be so many tribes walking side by side.
A group of people.
Okay, what type of group of people? So there's a class walking together. Some might look like Keck. Some might look like Anthony. Some might look like me. So what is he referring to?
The kind of people.
Okay, kind of people. What's the word that goes with that?
Cultural.
Close. He's fascinated with all the people because of all the different races being together. So he's never seen mixed races before because where he's from, everyone looks like him. And in his home with his aunt and his cousin, everyone looks like him. So he's never seen people mix together and be able to walk arm in arm and have friends. That he's so mesmerized by all the different sights of people, he's not even paying attention to the animals. Okay, last question. Why does the author emphasize that there are no cows on page 147? Because what did the teachers ask for them to look for?
Animals from our homelands.
From our homeland. Well, what animal does he know from his homeland?
Cows.
Cows. And there's absolutely no cows. So he's even struggling to make a connection with the animals because a lot of the animals don't look like what he's used to being around. So when it says, why did the author emphasize there are no cows, I'm putting the teachers asked them to look for animals from their homeland. And Ket is used to cows. And there were no cows. So he's entertaining himself with other things, like watching the people and how they communicate and how they walk around with one another. Okay. Anybody need a second for these 3 questions?
Yes.
Yes.
Take about 1 more minute. Anybody still need it? Going once,
No.
going twice. Okay, moving to the last chapter for today. This is very similar to what we were doing in class with our figurative language chart. And you can put this in your booklet if you want to as well with those pages that are stapled in. Then you're going to also type it in this chart. So we're going to read the chapter questions, that's 50 to 51. And then we're looking for 2 examples of figurative language. So then I've given you a chart to type in. I want you to type in the quote that you're trying to tell me. So if I was saying, it's raining cats and dogs, I would type in, it's raining cats and dogs as my quote. Okay. Then I want to know the type of figurative language that is. Is it a simile? Is it a metaphor? Is it a hyperbole? Okay. And then I want you to tell me what it means. So it's raining cats and dogs. It means it's raining really hard outside. So that would kind of be an example. And it's off the next chapter. So again, if you would like to do it by yourself, feel free, or I'm going to read those 2 pages and then we can work through it together. So the next one is page 150 and it says the question. All afternoon, my belly aches. Maybe I should have eaten more, I tell myself, but I know the hurt of hunger well. Hunger is a wild dog gnawing on a dry bone, mad with impatience, but hoping still. It isn't hunger I feel today. This pain is worse, one without pity like an icy night. This pain is a question, the one my heart will not stop asking. Why am I here when so many others are not? Why should I have a desk and a pair of fine jeans and a soft place for my head to rest? Why should I have the freedom to hope while my brother and father sleep in the blood and dirt? I should not take these gifts I do not deserve, and yet I know I will take them. Warm food and a soft bed and fresh hope, holding on tight as the wild dog to his bone. So out of that little page, I mean, it's legit a page and like a little stanza, we're trying to find 2 types of figurative language. So does anybody have one that jumps out at them?
Hunger is a wild dog.
Hunger is a wild dog. Okay. So then in my quote box, I'm going to type in hunger is a wild dog. What type of figurative language is that?
Metaphor.
It's a metaphor because it does not use like or as. Good, but we're comparing hunger to something. And what does it mean? I'm comparing hunger to a wild dog. So what does that mean about hunger? Hunger is a wild dog gnawing on a dry bone, mad with impatience, but hoping still. Come on, guys. If you were able to pull out the quote and tell me it's a metaphor, you got to know what it means. So he is comparing hunger to what?
A dog.
Okay, what do we know about not just a dog, a wild dog? So are they trained? Are
No.
they friendly? What do we know about a wild dog?
They're mean.
Okay, it can be mean. Okay, they can be a little bit crazy or frantic, just running around with no idea of what to do. So he's comparing hunger to a wild dog, saying it's very impatient and that it's kind of a little bit crazy, that he knows that feeling. And it's a feeling of almost wanting something as bad as a wild dog acts. So he's comparing hunger to playing and being impatient like a wild dog. So I even went in to say he's comparing hunger to being impatient like a wild dog, wanting something that's just not there. It says he's gnawing on a dry bone, so there's nothing on it. And he's still just eating it, hoping that something will just magically appear for him. Okay, so there's one. Now we need to find one more figurative language. Anybody have a different one?
The one my heart will not stop asking.
The one my heart will not stop asking. Okay, you could go with that one. That's not the one I had in my mind, so I've got to try to find that one. Oh, right there. This pain is a question, the one my heart will not stop asking. So what type of figurative language do you think that would be?
Personification.
Okay, good, because you're giving the heart human-like qualities. I can go with that. The one I was looking at was this pain is worse, one without pity, like an icy night, and it would be a simile. So whichever one you're wanting to pull, I'm going to go with Ashley's, that this pain is a question that my heart will not stop asking. That is personification. Okay, so it's personification because we're giving the heart human-like qualities. But what does it really mean? This pain is a question that my heart will not stop asking. So what is he doing with this? Because we know it's not pain of being hungry. So if his heart will not stop asking it, what does that mean he's doing?
He keeps asking it to himself.
He keeps asking it to himself. He's thinking about it over and over and over again. Kind of like how we might get a song stuck in our head and we sing it over and over and over again. He's doing the same thing, but not with the song. He's doing it with, why am I here? And why is my family dead? And he's like contemplating that in his head over and over again. So he's giving the heart human-like qualities, and he is continuing to think about, why me? Like, why is it him there? Why is he safe? Why is he getting all of these things when his family was not so lucky?
It's kind of like a heart because a heart keeps pumping and he keeps asking himself that question. So it's never ending.
Oh, that's good. That his heart is pumping and it's a never-ending question. That's good, Ashley. Nicholas keeps getting himself kicked out. Hold on.
Miss Pope,
Yep.
I had a question. When does spring break start?
Spring break will start next Thursday for you. So we have school all this week, and we'll have school Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I can pull up a calendar. Maybe that'll help. Hold on. Since I'm on shared screen anyways, this is January. That's not it. February, March, April. So today is March 31st. Okay. We have school all of this week. And Monday,
You said
Tuesday,
next
Wednesday.
Thursday, right?
So spring break will start Thursday, April 9th. It goes that Thursday, Friday, and then you have all of that next week off, and you'll come back to school April 20th. And I'll make sure to send out a remind message. Any other questions for me?
Oh.
No? Going once? Anybody still need my figurative language chart?
No.
No.
Okay, well, I'm going to stop sharing my screen then. And you are